The Florida vote is key, and many Americans in Israel will be making their voices heard.
Yeah, I think, if I have the right, I should use it.
It's a battleground state with a history of controversy. In the 2000 presidential election, after a dispute over votes counted, Bush took Florida's electoral votes by a margin of just 537. 2,490 ballots from Americans living abroad were counted as legal that day, leaving absentee voters feeling like the power was in their hands to make a difference.
I feel lucky in that respect that I get to vote in Florida, that my vote counts.
For Americans who have decided to leave the United States and make Israel their home, they could find themselves conflicted at the ballot box. What do they prioritize? Do they put domestic issues at the forefront and try to vote on issues that are affecting the residents that live there now? Or do they vote on foreign policy issues, which could have heavy impact and deep implications on the future of Israel and its security?
I think I tend to think much more domestically, actually. I certainly would never vote in a way that would be harmful to Israel. By no means would I ever do that. But when I'm thinking about who to vote for, especially in these upcoming elections, I'm thinking about on-the-ground domestic issues, healthcare, public school funding, gun safety, issues like that really affect Americans who, you're right, live in the U.S. still.
In these elections that are midterm elections and not elections for president, the well-being of my family, if you want, in the U.S. takes precedent. When it comes to presidents, so there I look more, look more at their foreign policy as well and try to see, and that takes a bigger part.
Even overseas, political divides run deep. And in the last presidential elections, Trump garnered 49% of the Israeli-American vote, while Hillary Clinton got 44%. Marnie Mandel is originally from Orlando, Florida, but her most recent U.S. address is New York, so that's where she votes. For Marnie, values transcend borders.
I really look at policy as not what's better for Israel or better for America, but rather what's better for humankind. And that's how I vote no matter where I am in the world.
Mandel thinks Floridians abroad can make a difference, even if they can't vote there.
I organized a rally for stronger gun safety and gun reform. And the reason I did that was because I felt so strongly about the Parkland shooting with the high school. And I was with Marjorie Stone Douglas High School. Something in me, I don't know if it was because I was from Florida, whatever it is, it made me sick to my stomach.
In times of crisis, political action from Israel becomes even more important.
When I was in high school, the Columbine shooting happened, which was the first among many, or one of the first among many, and I remember that so vividly. So yeah, it definitely impacts me, and I feel very connected to home at times like those, and I feel like it's even more important to be a responsible citizen.
I-24 News correspondent Michael Schur asked Jews in Florida what their motivations are when they go to vote.
Midterm elections in the United States are usually dominated by domestic issues, and this year is no different. And that makes things a little more complicated for voters in Florida, especially Jewish voters, who have the concerns of Israel and Florida at hand.
It's very, very important that we elect people to Congress, governor, and Senate that will protect the interest of the state of Israel.
And I'm a local Florida resident, so what happens locally on the ground where I live is of utmost importance to us, as well as what's happening overseas, as our heart is in Israel.
America first, then Israel second, but obviously we have it in mind as well.
Israel, no Israel, we need Democrats.
Home and overseas, in the key state of Florida, every ballot counts. Emily Rose and Michael Schur, I-24 News.